Tonight, less than 24 hours after the Supreme Court handed down the ruling overturning 50 years of abortion protections, the White House and many abortion advocates are calling on Congress to step in. The Supreme Court's decision in Dobbs versus Jackson sending the choice on whether to allow abortions back to legislators, which may now include Congress. Now, in the meantime, Democratic governors are trying to comfort anxious Americans. Multiple West Coast states, as well as some of the most liberal on the East, promising to fight to protect women in their states. But with that ruling, 13 states are immediately outlawing the practice, including Texas, which is also taking steps to criminalize abortion. And even Virginia's governor is seeking to limit the practice past 15 weeks.
Why haven't you been specific in what your plans are to respond in Virginia if Roe v. Wade is overturned?
I am pro-life. I do believe in exceptions in the case of rape and incest and when the mother's life is at risk. And how that translates to what we go forward with, we're going to have to work through. But we need to see the final opinion.
And multiple protests today taking place across the Commonwealth in response to that ruling, including one here in downtown Roanoke earlier this evening in front of the Federal Building, as well as one in Fairfax outside of the home of Justice Clarence Thomas. It's those protests and an alleged attempted murder of one of the justices just a few weeks ago that prompted legislators to put new safety measures in place for members of the Supreme Court. Fox News' congressional correspondent Aisha Husney has more from Capitol Hill.
I call on everyone to keep all protests peaceful. Peaceful, peaceful, peaceful.
Tonight, the president is calling on Americans to refrain from violence as calls for pro-choice protests spread nationwide. Some of those calls coming from members of Congress.
We have to build right now. Elections are not enough.
Protests outside the justices' homes, which are illegal under a federal statute, have been ongoing since the draft court opinion leaked in May.
You don't care if people die.
And just this month, police arrested an armed man outside the home of Justice Brett Kavanaugh for threatening to assassinate him. He has pleaded not guilty. And yet Congress is heading home soon for July break without passing emergency funding to help protect the justices. A bipartisan bill sponsored by Senators Bill Hagerty and Mark Warner passed unanimously in the Senate this week, but it has not been scheduled for a vote in the House yet. The bill would have delivered $10.3 million to the U.S. Marshals Service and $9.1 million to the Supreme Court to address unprecedented threats.
If Congress doesn't immediately provide this funding, the court and marshal services may be forced to transfer funds from other critical functions. That's an unacceptable outcome.
GOP aides tell Fox the court and the U.S. Marshals Service are currently spending money on security needs that were not planned, including overtime pay. Leader Mitch McConnell warned ahead of the Supreme Court ruling that time is running out, pointing to the pro-choice group Jane's Revenge and its upcoming plans.
One activist group is promising that our cities will be submerged in, quote, listen to this, a night of rage.
And the concerns about what might happen next are apparently so grave that Democratic Senator Mark Warner used January 6th to prove his point, telling colleagues, look at what could happen if we don't prepare for threats. On Capitol Hill, I'm Aisha Husney, Fox News.
And this ruling tonight overturning 50 years of legal precedent has a lot of people wondering what this means for the future of other landmark cases, especially after a concurring opinion penned by Justice Clarence Thomas, where he writes that the court should reconsider other key landmark decisions, creating concern about what other rights besides abortion could be impacted. WFXR's Kelsey Jean-Baptiste joins us live from the Blacksburg Bureau with a breakdown of that opinion. Kelsey, what does this all mean?
Well, Drew, that concurring opinion written by Justice Thomas calls into question the rulings of other cases that currently protect the rights of same-sex marriage and birth control.
A sweeping suggestion made by Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has many asking the question, should I be worried? In his concurring opinion, he wrote the Supreme Court should reconsider past rulings that protect same-sex marriage, contraceptives, and more.
Justice Thomas does kind of throw in those cases as saying that they suffer from the same kind of faulty legal ground as Roe v. Wade.
Radford University Assistant Professor of Political Science, Dr. Allison Yankel, saying many people should not be too concerned.
The majority opinion written by Alito is saying that This, of course, doesn't extend to other cases that rely on Roe or the reasoning in Roe.
But that does not put many at ease, especially after the overturn of Roe v. Wade.
We don't have to imagine what devastating consequences this decision might have. We see in states like Texas, where already abortion has been all but totally banned for the past 9 months, that people are already being forced to travel hundreds, if not thousands of miles to receive care outside of their home states. And in many cases, folks are being forced to carry pregnancies to term against their will.
Planned Parenthood South Atlantic Allison Kaiser saying they believe this decision is more about taking away the right to body autonomy and controlling women's lives. This while some anti-abortion advocates are commending the decision. In a statement, President of the Virginia Society for Human Life, Olivia Turner, saying that women deserve better than the death of their children, and adding services to address deeper reasons why abortion may seem like the only option is necessary.
And one thing Dr. Yankel did say is that this is going to have a ripple effect across many states, even saying that we might see some states, copying each other, or them even becoming abortion deserts. In Blacksburg, Kelsey Jean-Baptiste, WFXR News.
All right, Kelsey, thank you. Important clarification from both sides. We're also digging deeper tonight on the political aspect of the overturn of Roe versus Wade and its likely impact on the upcoming midterm elections this November. Dr. Karen Holt, a political science professor with Virginia Tech, says the Supreme Court ruling will have some sort of impact on state and congressional elections across the nation in November. In particular, how the two major political parties in the U.S. treat this decision in discussing and debate.
Will be cast as a win for Republicans and a loss for Democrats. I think, however, that misses a lot of nuance, because clearly, as we've seen in Virginia and also elsewhere around the country, there's kind of a mixture in terms of how individual legislators and how individual voters feel on the issue of abortion rights.
Now, Dr. Holt says it's less clear on whether this ruling will drive voters to the polls in November, but it will be important in the hotly contested seats of incumbent Virginia Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger and Elaine Loria. All right, now you've been weighing in on whether you think the Supreme Court made the right decision when it overturned Roe versus Wade, and it looks like a slim majority of you are saying that you do agree, just 53% though. Now, we'll leave that poll up through the night and get more checks on this results tomorrow night. And if there's some part of our extensive coverage that you felt like you missed or you would like to learn more, just head over to our website and click on this story on the front page.